So, if you've been reading the news anytime recently, especially these past few weeks, you'll know that there have been some pretty big cyber attacks going on. Particularly, Ukraine got hit with some pretty serious ones that affected major governmental systems, but also Albuquerque public schools, as well as in general New Mexico, or New Mexico public schools in New Mexico. So those are kind of the things I want to talk about this week on the BB&J podcast. Last week, a cyber attack hit Albuquerque public schools pretty hard. Superintendent Scott Elder announced that they had to cancel classes for around 75,000 students while basically they get everything back in order. What happened was over the break, teachers started trying to access school systems and found that they were all locked out. Normal ransomware attack happened where hackers were like, hey, we'll give you back access to your systems if you give us this amount of money. They said no, and the school system has been working very hard since to get their stuff back, basically. Scott Elder was quoted as saying, "If it seems I've come into your homes a lot in the past couple of years to share difficult news, you're right, here I am again. We find ourselves facing yet another challenge." And challenge they are certainly facing. But this is a serious issue, to the point where approximately 1 in 5 New Mexico school children are being affected by these closures. And I mean, like this, unfortunately, this is something that happens. Like, cyber attacks do happen. Ransomware attacks do happen. They hit cities. They hit, heck, even schools. They hit institutions they know will give them money. Businesses. How often do you hear, oh, hey, we got hacked and all of our client data got leaked? It happens. It's very unfortunate. So I wanted to use this opportunity to talk about one of the most common ways that hackers get in. You think of hackers, they're typing away at their computers, they're going, oh, they put on the sunglasses, I'm in, all that stuff. That's not usually how it goes. So what will usually happen is they'll send they'll send a bunch of emails, right? Basically what it boils down to is click this link, right? Usually they'll try to seem reputable. And what happens a lot is if they get in and hack into one account, they'll use that account to send out emails to other people and try to get them to click the link. Because once you click it, they basically have access to everything. Get spyware on your ransomware or spyware on your computer. They go in, cause a bunch of problems. Really what it comes down to is if someone emails you a link to something, be very careful about opening it. Just in general rule of thumb. Like, unless it's like, hey, I wanted to send you an article, and then 5 minutes later you get an email where it has the URL for the article. Well, that's probably it, right? But something that you can do, and something I'd recommend, is you can go, you right click that link, right? You hit copy link specifically. Don't left click it. Don't normal click it. Enter it into your search bar and just look at it. If it is a normal, like if they're like, hey, I wanted to send you my recommendations on a Facebook page, and it says facebook.com/recommended page. That's probably, that's where that URL is going, right? But if it's like a bunch of random numbers and letters, then it's probably going to hit you on a bunch of redirects and then eventually end up installing malware on your computer. So, that is, I think, a very basic thing. And just like being cautious with getting emails, even if it sounds like a good deal, just like be mindful, especially if it's not something that you guys physically directly talked about, right? If they just email you something out of the blue versus, hey, I'm going to send you this later, and then they send you this later, though that's a different matter, right? And the last thing I'd say is, if you're in a situation where you did get a suspicious email from somebody, make sure you follow up with them, because if they have access to their email account still, they're gonna want to know that they're hacked, right? And you know, if it just looks suspicious and it's just a normal email, then you won't. Then they'll be able to provide that context, and you'll be fine moving forward. But yeah, that's definitely the thing to keep in mind. It sounds simple, but like I said, majority of hacking is just that. Majority of robberies are just going in through a door, right? You're not tunneling in. You go through a door, you go through a window. The door or window of a lot of these modern, very advanced systems is people and the stuff people use directly. So just make sure that you are a sturdy link as a user. On that note, I'd like to thank you so much for listening and or watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have any questions or any subjects, current events you want me to talk about, absolutely let me know. I like to keep up to date with this stuff, and I hope you do too. But other than that, I will see you next week.